What's up, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Everything Wrestling. So, today we will be discussing the NWO and how the NWO changed wrestling as we know it now. So, there are some that feel like, okay, the NWO was the best thing to happen to wrestling, and there are a lot of people who feel that NWO ruined wrestling. So, with that said, let's get into it. So, obviously, we know in '96, basically, wrestling was strictly hero versus the villain. That's all we knew when it came to wrestling. But when the NWO was formed, or when the thought of the NWO came along, it kind of changed the game. So, if you remember, first of all, we had Scott Hall, who appeared in the crowd, and pretty much it wasn't something that was announced. He walked in the audience like he didn't belong. So the storyline what had us believing that we had a WWF guy coming over to WCW, which was unheard of. So now you know, in this day and time, we got the whole forbidden door, people coming through the forbidden door, that whole concept. But at that time, it was like, oh my God, is WWF crossing over, and do we have this almost like a fantasy warfare type thing going on? So if you remember, Scott Hall grabbed that mic and he delivered like this message that in our eyes, especially if you was a kid during that time, it was one of the most realest statements that you can hear. And if you remember it, it was that statement that said, "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here." And from that statement alone, just now drew everybody in. And you basically, as a fan, now you kind of confused, like, okay, why is he here? Is are they gonna be battling? Are we getting a crossover? Was this scripted? So it had us all thinking like we didn't know where to go with this. So then we now get Kevin Nash. And we didn't know at that time that they were the quote unquote will form the outsiders, but pretty much that's how that whole name came to be. So it's like, okay, these outside entities are coming in. Now, Nash comes in and claims that they were taking over WCW, but he never said who him and Hall was working for. So again, we're still thinking this is WWF versus WCW, which again is got our eyes posted. Now we're thinking this is the most realistic slash creative storyline that we have ever seen. So moving on, Bash of the Beach '96 comes up. Hall and Nash gave us a promise that we was gonna get a third man. Now, of course, during that time, most people thought it was Macho Man, and at some, even kind of, it was few people that thought maybe it was Sting. Honestly, when we seen Hogan walk out, we never thought it was Hogan, and we was like, "Oh, okay, Hogan's here to help WCW." But when he dropped that leg drop on Savage, man, the crowd went silent. Everybody was mad. And it was like, Hulk Hogan, which represented the red, white, and blue and uh, everything that a hero represented, had now turned into a heel. And when he cut that promo and told everybody that the fans and everybody could suck it, oh yeah, now NWO was born, which also made us more invested in the storyline. So now uh they started doing those promos, which was in black and white, which I think was genius. because it wasn't something that you normally seen. It was like a cut from an old school film, but you always tuned in, and even the way they actually filmed it, when you periodically saw them with the camera, or you hear that film roll cut in, like, to me, it gave you that real feeling. And it just felt like fans wasn't watching a storyline. They was watching all this chaos just start unfolding. So now it just became that the NWO was the cool thing. Everybody wanted to be part of NWO. You had the celebrities that were NWO. NWO basically uh, made or helped WCW beat the WWF for 83 straight weeks. That's how popular the NWO had become. And for the first time ever, now the WWE was losing in ratings. But here's one thing that always, got me to thinking. As the NWO kept growing, I think that's when the problem started. And we always feel like that core group was the best group. So you that Hall, Nash, Hogan, and then even with X Pac. Okay, that little core group, and we could have settled for the Giant, but after that, it was like you had more members, more chaos, more segments, and we just became. You just started adding a lot of unnecessary stuff, and some of it didn't even make sense. It was like we pretty much now you're watching WCW just to see who joins the group. We didn't really care about what the NWO was doing. It was just like, okay, this week who's joining? Now the NWO, after all that nonsense, I feel like the NWO started losing its identity because you started getting multiple factions that were breaking out. So we went from NWO to NWO Wolfpack to NWO Black and Red, because we actually had the Wolfpack, but then we went NWO Black and Red. Now it became the difference between NWO Black and White, Black and Red. Then you even had the LWO. And it's like it just became too much. And WCW made it their predominant thing, which I think it took away from a lot of the cruiserweights. It took away from a lot of other entities within WCW that were good. And the one thing that made WCW great, honestly felt like it was now starting to destroy it. But here's my thing. We know the NWO changed wrestling forever. It made it cool to like villains now. It forced WWE to, or slash WWF, or WWF slash WWE, to step up their game. So all them kiddie games, them kiddie characters that they had, it made them step their game up. And we know for a fact, and it's a proven fact, without the NWO, there's no Attitude Era. Now, along with ECW, because we also know with the Attitude Era, ECW did contribute to that also. But we do know, without the NWO, we would have never had the level that Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker, that they brought. We would have never gotten that, because WWF slash WWE was stuck in their ways, and they were happy giving us those kiddie characters. Now, with all that said, my question to y'all is, was the NWO the greatest storyline all time? Or do you feel like it just went too long? So let me know that. Let me know your answer in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, hit me with a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel also, because again, we got a lot more stuff coming down the hatch. Make sure you check out some of my other videos, because again, we have a lot for everyone. So with that said, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay blessed out there. Stay safe. And I'll catch you on the next go around.